Hi everyone, welcome back to my little channel. It's Samantha here of Samantha Sutherland Art and Books. And I probably say this most of my videos, but this is not the video I was going to be making, especially this week. The video I want to make is kind of like a hauls and a haul and a goals one in a way. And all of the books that I have ordered, which I want to talk to you about, haven't arrived yet. And also there's a book club I'm a member of, and I'm waiting for a couple of those books because that will then also be added to another book tag, which I have been tagged in, which is the Beefcake Book Challenge for 2025. So I thought I'd pop on whilst I'm running my daughter's bath, as usual, because I was watching Kelly of Books I'm Not Reading. And she did this. I think she was tagged. Yeah, she was tagged in this one, pretty sure. And I thought, ooh, that looks fun. And also, it's just kind of a list of prompts and answering the questions. And also, one of the questions is right up my alley. Totally what I'm going to be doing for this year. So I thought I would give this one a go. I may tag someone. At least I have one person in mind I'd like to tag, but we'll see. So what is it? Basically, you answer 9 prompts. One's a bonus, one's a tagging one. So you've got fear, patience, growth, new paths, self-care, forging ahead, goals, breaking walls, which is the bonus, and then teamwork, which is the tag others one. So there's 9 prompts, 7 main ones, a bonus, and tag one. So I thought I'd give this one a go because it seemed like a lot of fun. And also we are, 3 weeks now going on into the new year. It's still technically brand new because we're still at the beginning of the new year. It's January. It's not got any further than that yet. So I thought this might be quite nice. So here are the prompts. Number 1, fears. What is one book from your 2025 reading goals that scares you? Well, that's an easy one. Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I have got it all. I don't know if you can see that. How nice does that sound? Bit of ASMR, whatever you call it. I couldn't sleep a couple of nights ago. I felt really lousy. Probably the Friday. I had a bit of a flare-up of IBS. And I stayed up doing this. This scares me. Why does it scare me? Because I'm being dyslexic. I've always steered away from really big books. The biggest book I ever read was probably about 500 pages, and that was a shock when I finished the book in about 2 or 3 weeks. And this also goes for the Beefcake Book Challenge as well. That also does scare me. I'll get to that in just a sec. But yeah, I think I worked it out that, and I started this yesterday, and I need to read the next 12 pages because I've also written down when I started it, which was Saturday the 11th. I worked out that it should take me till May, because I've literally kind of gone through the page flags for however many weeks are in the month, and then I have put like 1 month, 2 months. So the last one says 4 months, so that should be around about May. And I am taking a tip from Tristan of Tristan and the Classics. He gave the advice and the tip that if you can read 12 pages a day, you can read any book. And I've done that with this one, and I've nearly finished it. I did that with the Alice Oswald book for the Iliad, well, the retelling of the Iliad, and I finished that. To be honest, that was actually quite an easy book to read anyway, which I need to give a wrap up on that one as well. So that's maybe another video in itself. So yes, this one and the Beefcake Book Challenge, because the Beefcake Book Challenge, in case you're not aware, it's supposed to choose 10 big thick books and then answer the questions, which I will do that in another video, not this one. So, and I'm also wondering if I'll actually get through this book for a start, because I definitely want to read this one. And there's another one I'm really, really wanting to read. So, and that has answered in another question a bit further down. So, yes, so Les Mis, that's what scares me from my reading goals for this year. Number 2 is patience. What is the one book on your 2025 reading goals you want to start immediately? Well, first of all, I kind of did it. I ordered this, and within a few days it came, and I started reading it. So it is, The Selected Poems of James Schuyler. This book was recommended by Eleanor of The Only Real Property. Also, I shared this on Instagram. I've shown this as well, but I'm so obsessed with this book, especially the book cover. I created a paperclip bookmark for it, and I am absolutely in love with this book. I don't usually gravitate to poetry books really quickly. Usually it takes me a few poems to read it. I'm in an RN for a few weeks. As soon as I started reading a couple of the poems, in fact, as soon as I started reading the first poem of his I came across, as soon as it came, I thought, I want to read it straight away. I was reading about 2 other books, and then I thought, no, I'm starting this. So I did start this. And also Loose Sugar by Brenda Hillman, and another book that I may have purchased because of it was mentioned by Eleanor. In fact, most of the poetry books I have bought at the beginning of this year, which I will go into in another video. I kind of went straight into Google whilst I was watching Eleanor of The Only Real Property. Yeah, I mean, I can't blame her completely. I have to share the blame because I didn't have to buy them, but they would have been left on a shelf had I not bought them. And this was like the last one, so I couldn't leave it. And that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to that. But yeah, I started reading this as soon as I bought this. And then as soon as Loose Sugar comes by Brenda Hillman, I'll be reading that. It's a beautiful book cover. Now, I being an artist, I was very taken with the cover of this. And also I'm very taken with the cover of Loose Sugar, which, if I can edit this before I put this video up, I will somewhere put a link to, or somewhere put a image of the book, and you'll see what I mean. But also I've just ordered The Moon is Always Female by Marge Piercy, which is goes to answer another one of these questions as well. But that, probably as soon as I get that, I'm reading that too. I'm terrible, aren't I terrible? I'm reading a few of the books at the same time, but yeah. But it's just so beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful cover. I'm in love with this cover. In fact, I probably would find a way to blow it up and print it out at the library and put it on my wall. I really, really, really like this cover. So that's the book or books that I would. I don't have the patience to wait. Growth. What book last year pushed you to reflect and or grow as a reader? I had to think about this one. And I'd have to say The Thing in the Gapstone Style by Alice Oswald. It made me stop, it made me slow down, it made me think about what I was reading more. I read the book over a few days. It's 50 odd pages, so it was quite a quick read anyway, but for me, I didn't want to read it all in one go. I wanted to savour it, I wanted to enjoy it. And usually with poetry, I have to admit, or any books to be honest, I'll read it and I'll read and read and read and read until either I get bored or I'm tired and I'll put it down and then I'll forget and then eventually I'll finish it. But I kind of rush through them, I have to admit. But with Alice Oswald's poetry, you can't help but slow down. I did not read Ted Hughes quickly. I read that quite slowly as well, to be honest. But it also made me reflect on the natural world more, on wanting to go out more, wanting to experience nature more, really, and slow down. Number 4, which is New Paths. Which is one author you plan to try for the first time in 2025? Well, that's easy. That's Dostoevsky. I've never read anything he's ever done, and I have got the Brothers Karamazov, which is for the Beefcake book challenge, and I really want to read that. I've been wanting to read it since probably last year, maybe the year before, and I finally bit the bullet and I finally bought it. And I've never read any of his books at all. This is the first one of his books, and I figured if you're going to read something by one of the greatest Russian authors, you might as well start with that one. Most people start with Crime and Punishment. I decided to start with the Brothers Karamazov. I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I've heard more about that than Crime and Punishment. Crime and Punishment doesn't really interest me. People in books doing mundane, everyday things interests me a lot more, I think. And I think I'm probably going to get further through that, or I'm hoping to finish that, than I would do with something like Crime and Punishment, which I may read one day. But for now, yes, it's going to be the Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov. Number 5, which is Self-Care, which is one book and or series you revisit for comfort. The Moon is Always Female by Marge Pacey. I used to read that book every time I was in pain, every time I needed a distraction, every time I felt down. And I lost the book and I was gutted. I don't even know what happened to it. I don't know where it went. And then a couple of days ago, I was thinking, I thought, I wish I could read the book that I used to read a lot. And then I remembered what it was called and I found it and I ordered it. It was the last one. I thought, I'm getting that. I don't care what it costs. Although a few of the copies were stupidly priced. This one was from, I think it was Better World Books. So yes, I ordered it and it's coming, I think it's coming next week. So I have to wait a week, which I don't mind. I can be patient, but as soon as it comes up, well, like I said, I'll probably be reading it. But it's one of the few poetry books that I've read a lot of. I used to photocopy the poems and put them on my wall. It was just an inspiring book, and I loved the book. It's just such a comfort for me, and I absolutely love the poems in that book. And I still remember my love of reading that book, for whether it was the first time or the 15th time, because I must have read it at least 10-15 times. So yes, that is my definite go-to book. Forging Ahead. What is your favourite debut book or first book in a series you read last year? Didn't actually read any first in a series or any debut books that I can think of. So this one really doesn't apply, I have to admit. Last year I spent either reading poetry or classics or horror. Oh, hang on a minute. Maybe, no, actually Pen Pal was a second for the author, I think. But yes, I didn't read anything like that that I can think of. And if I'm wrong, I will put it somewhere or in the box below. But I'm pretty sure I didn't read any debut novels, definitely, because I'm not really into contemporary authors. And the classics ones that I read, they weren't really debut novels as far as I know. So, goals. Do you have a specific reading goal or challenge for the year ahead? Yes. A big one for me is I usually stay away from reading groups, mainly because they choose books I don't really like or want to read, or I'll join them and I'll give up because it's just easy to give up. And especially when you're doing it over Patreon or YouTube or anything like that. Now, I joined Tristan the Classics Patreon last year, and for this year, the first 3 books anyway really interest me, which is The Honjin Murders by Seishi Yokomizo, which we are currently reading. Some people apparently have already finished it, but I've got about maybe less than a week of reading left because I've done the 12 pages each day thing, and it's really working. It really is. It's a great idea. The Makioka Sisters by Junichiro Tanizaki and Kokoro by Natsume Soseki. I may have just completely butchered those names, but and plus also can't read my handwriting back. So yes, they're the next 2 books on this list. I may only do the first 3 But then again, it's going to push me out of my comfort zone, because the third book, I can't remember which one it is, but it's a second for the novelist. It's a classics one. That's an English classics. The first three are Japanese to English translations. And I was kind of reading the Honjin Murders thinking, it's okay. It's all right, but I don't think I'm going to carry on. And I ummed and I actually ordered the Makioka Sisters and Kokoro, which are due this week or maybe beginning of next, I can't remember. And I thought, no, maybe it should be a New Year's resolution kind of thing, that I stick to this and I read the books, even though they're books I'd never read. I've started reading books I'd never ever read. I started Les Mis on Saturday. I'd never read that, except for the fact that I was hoping to go and see what I thought was a stage production. It's not, it's a concert. It's a 3-hour concert showing at the cinemas, which unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be able to manage, because I don't think I can sit through that at the cinema. At home, yes. At the cinema, no. Which is a shame. So I've kind of slowed down on the reading of, or starting of the reading of that. I kept putting it off, but I finally started it. So yes, that is my reading goals, is to actually continue with the reading group and finish reading the books so I can discuss it with them. I hope I don't sound like a total idiot. I'll be just 1 minute. I don't know why I just sat here in silence. I'm back. I do apologise for that. Yeah, I've not flooded the bathroom. One day I'm going to come back and you're going to be thinking, did she flood the bathroom? And I'll probably admit to it, but not yet. Right, I'm going to stop rambling. Sorry. Right, so number 8 is breaking walls, which is the bonus one. Do you have a non-book related goal for 2025 you wish to share? Yes. This is the question that when I was watching Kelly do the prompts, that I was like, oh, it piqued my interest on that question. I have another channel. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it. I may have done. I have a second channel called Autumn Fox and Rabbit Crafts. I've had it for a while. It's also been quite quiet for a while, which is going to change. This year, I'm going to be uploading more videos of sewing related stuff. And I have decided that I need to really slow down. Stress is not good for me. Stress makes me worse, as it would make anyone worse. But when you've got chronic illness, it can actually kick off things like fibromyalgia and IBS, both of which I have, both of which are worse when I am stressed. And I have my daughter's quilt to finish. I have a few other quilts I've started that I need to finish. And most importantly, I want to enter a quilt into the Festival of Quilts at Birmingham. So this year, we're going to visit for research, honestly. And then the next year, I want to enter one to do with the Peterloo Massacre, which is something that happened in Manchester. It was given that title by some journalists who went to the meeting, which ended in utter chaos and violence, because the people of the North wanted to be heard. They wanted to have access to things. They wanted to be able to meet and discuss these things. And unfortunately, the yeomen were ordered to attack the meeting, and it ended in utter chaos and violence. And I have had this idea itching away in my brain for a couple of years now, or even a few years, that I want to make a quilt that is historically based on that as a starting point. So I'm going to be researching that. I'm going to be buying locally made textiles. That means I want to go to Style Mill, and I want to buy the fabric from there, and I want to make the quilt and enter it the year after, because it's not going to happen this year, because it has to be submitted by about May, June, and it's not going to be cheap to do that. And also I might make another quilt that I can also enter. One as I don't know what I'd enter them under. Well, first one would be amateur. Because I also want to try improv quilting. I also want to create quilts from wonky houses and wonky trees. There's a on my other account, my other YouTube account, I watch Pinkutso, who is Nikki. I don't know if you even want to hear this because you might have switched off by now, but basically I've purchased 2 of her booklets, and I want to make a couple of quilts. Also, I've left it downstairs. If I can, I will put a picture somewhere here. There's a Tilda quilt I said I'd make for my daughter, and also for my daughter for her birthday if I can. I found a book block quilt pattern, and as she's a little bit of a book nerd, I want to make it for her birthday if I can. So that's what I'm also going to be making. So I have a few quilts on the back burner and in my head to want to make. Also, I want to get back into knitting. Now it's getting slightly warmer. My hands aren't as dry as they have been, which they usually are in winter anyway. I miss knitting, and I want to visit Black Sheep Wools in Warrington, and I want to go on a wool shopping spree if I can, which I can't because I have to save for books and fabric. But yes, I'm going to be saving for my trip to the Festival of Quilts. But yes, they're the non-book goals for 2025. So yes, that's what I'm going to be doing for this year. I mean, I love sewing anyway. I'm really getting back into sewing, and I want to just basically have a go at making my own clothes as well. So I'd be a little bit more colourful. One thing that annoys me about grown-ups' clothes is they're boring. And you just want to wear something nice and bright and silly and cheery. And they, unless you're a child, there isn't anything really. It's like they think when you grow up you like to wear plain or subtly patterned clothes with like flowers and things on, or you know, those sorts of things. I'd like to have a go at making my own clothes if I can. And also I want to get back into textile arts big time this year. I want to do art quilts, but I want to also make textile art by dipping things into plaster of Paris and using textiles, and you know, it's just experimenting and just going a bit mad. So when I've got the room next door, which is why I'm so desperate to get the room next door sorted, I can have a play. I also need to get my sewing machine fixed. And also hopefully to go out a little bit more and sketch more. That would be nice. So yes, so number 9 is teamwork. Tag others. Now I think this is going to be right up Elizabeth's street from Bookines and Books. She did say in one of her videos, I think the very last of last year maybe, or the one before the last, I'm not sure, I can't remember, that in 2025 she wants to do more book tags. Then I'm tagging you, Elizabeth of Bookines and Books. She's ever so lovely. You need to go find her and give her some love. She's ever so lovely. She always makes me smile. She always makes me giggle. Her last video, which was like the worst books, no, it wasn't exactly the worst books. It was like a mix of books that won prizes for certain things. And there's a book about penguins, and her description of that, it just makes me giggle. In fact, I want to read it just for what she kind of how she kind of described the contents of the book. So yes, I'm definitely tagging Elizabeth for this one. Also, if Gem of Books might want to do this book tag, I don't know, she's quite busy. She's reading 40 books before she's 40. And funny enough, one of the books that she read, she DNF'd it because she didn't like it. And I was like, oh, it's one of my favourites, and I always have to have a box of tissues, and it made me cry. And I was listening to her review of it, and I was like, oh no. Oh, well, I suppose magical realism isn't for everybody. It's a bit of a bonkers book. And it was Like Water for Chocolate. It's one of my favourites, and I love the film. In fact, it's got me so obsessed with wanting to learn to crochet, literally, because she crochets a blanket in the film, and it's a huge thing, and I'm like, I want to make the blanket. I've still not learned to crochet. But yeah, she didn't like it. And I think, as Robert G Reader of Books has tagged me in a couple of book tags, I'd like to return the favour, if I may, and tag Robert as well. So that's it. I think I've babbled on and rambled on long enough. I'm going to go and read the next 12 pages of this little book. It's interesting, I have to admit. It's more interesting than I thought it was going to be. And also, I've got the perfect bookmark for the Honjin murders. I'm going to make a bookmark like the James Schuyler bookmark. I just need a better scalpel, because I did myself a slight injury making that one. Not from cutting myself, but from because it's kind of blunt, and it's more of a box cutter than a cutting out tool. So if that makes any sense. And I need to get a scalpel, to be honest, a proper paper crafter's scalpel. And so I'm going to say goodbye for now. Until the next time. Hoping all of the books that I've actually ordered, I'm hoping they all arrive this week. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Facebook and on Instagram, which I try to post at least once a day. Sometimes it's once a day every so often, maybe 3 days maximum, or 4 maybe. But I'm trying to actually post more on there. I do post very regularly on Facebook, but I have 3 followers and quite a few likers. I'd like more followers, and as I like the likers, they're lovely, but I'd like more followers too. So if you want to go over and give me prod on there, that'd be nice. Or if not, and you want to stay on here, it's fine. Whichever you prefer. And also you can find me on Goodreads. And on that note, I will say good reading to you. Have a lovely week, whatever you are doing. I hope it's not too cold where you are. The snow's on its way out here. So stay warm, stay cozy, happy reading, and I will see you all very, very soon. So until the next time, bye-bye everyone. See you later.